Fambulena Radio Land, with Facebook page live, now we Radio Garden and our website. We want to say good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of the program, Media Junction, where they hit you through the means or the platform where you get with. For the one day we in a Radio Land, where they listen to in a radio, if you there na Kwenadugu Kabala, you there on Shalom Radio. Except if you dey na Falabag and some part of Kono, you dey get we live on Shalom Radio. You dey na Madina, you dey get we on Katvami Radio. Inside Cambia Town, we dey on Colenten Radio. Adi Radio na Putloko, Konike na Makali, Numbara na Bumbo na Kentu na Sela Kamakwe, and live na we studios na 4 Road inside Makini. If you dey watch we na Facebook, or say if you want to watch we na Facebook, now for go on Hope FM 93.3 McKinney, you will get with Facebook live page and you will able to follow we and make your contribution to the program. If you there somewhere na the country, you know able get we na radio, you know get chance for watch we na Facebook. Now for plant a seed na Radio Garden to the Radio Garden app on the Hope FM 93.3 McKinney, you will able for get with it live. And if you there any sign at the wall, either get with Radio Garden where I don't announce the address, or you go to our website on www.hopefmsl.com. The program we there about to come away in a Media Junction, and it come away in them platforms there so we don't choose so far away. My name na Stanley Bangoa Jr. Inside this edition of the program today, I don't stand by some big alleged them for car RDM and the topic we will inform discussion at this program. We all know say Media Junction at the program where they come to you, reach you every Sunday from 12 midday to 2 p.m. And at the program where they talk about the things that really make the country go before, and series so talk about the things that really challenge the growth of the nation state of Sierra Leone. I get Unisa Party Kamara, where Boku people can call UPK. There and now a traditional social and political commentator. UPK say I do to listeners and viewers across the world.
Good afternoon, the good citizens of the world.
All right, we seriously get Ibrahim Darami, where they are for sake of the civil society. Darami say I do to Fambule.
Assalamu alaikum, people. I'm happy for us again today.
Emilia Kama Django will join we shortly. Na the radio when once it come, we go make una no say it don't reach now so. But then quick one. Let also member on us say inside this edition of the program today, we don't stand by for can talk about the President Dr. Julius Maada Bio in 5 years in office since the people of Sierra Leone being take a decision for elect President Bio. It on 5 years as of last week, the 4th of April. So we want for can see waiting they for show inside this period there so where the president been promised boku thing to the people in a salon. We want for see waiting they for show. So inside this week here so the committee where the president been set up for investigate and bring out a report on the August 10 disturbances. That report they don't come on. We also go put your eye on that particular report. Well, we guess in the program today, na Sidi Tunis, the publicity secretary for the Opposition All People's Congress, and Mr. Solomon Jamiru Esquire, we na the Deputy Minister of Information and Communication. We go bring on them people there shortly when once we able to forget them. But then we go kickstart the program and try for make sure say in the next few minutes we able get there we get there for the part of the program for help we make informed judgment on the president in 5 years in office. So we will kickstart the program when once we reach at the bridge, we will consult with we panelists them, we guest them. But let's begin the program with me traditional panelists them. I want to begin with you, PK. It's been 5 years since the people of this country been bestowed their trust, their faith, their destiny to President Dr. Julius Maada Bio for pilots this plane here we then call Sierra Leone and take them to a place where if they say they don't prepare for take them. Let I ask you from your own honest opinion. It's been 5 years. What thing you really make up of these 5 years of ABO presidency?
You know what thing I want to do? I want for just tell the people of Sierra Leone waiting matter bio been promised we. I don't want for degrade it, I don't want for judge. I don't want for prejudice them.
All right, okay.
So this is not the SLPP manifesto, where them been called the People's Manifesto. And President Biden and they even say he go transform the economy, he go build human development, he go improve governance, he go improve infrastructure. Now be the broad thing and then they will say. So where I go inside, what have been the riding vision we even get? Even say he want a united, peaceful, progressive, happy country. Where all man go get jobs, access to jobs, food, education, health, and equal justice and equal opportunity go there for all. This have been the vision we them get. Now, even how even say it transform the economy. I will just take some of the main highlight of the new direction. It said the new direction government go. It said it will pay attention to the following areas: revenue mobilization, public expenditure management, public debt management. And then they even say they pay attention to on how you want to transform the economy. Then it go help for curtail the exchange rate, it will manage the exchange rate well, it will promote local entrepreneurship, and it will establish the development bank, it will strengthen the economy, it will develop agriculture. Then even talk back say the new direction will increase budget allocation on agriculture for meet the Maputo commitment and boku other thing. But let us just rush the people to human capital. After that, we then go to yes, the new direction. Yeah, look, improve public expenditure management. The new direction specifically actually it go pursue and manage public spending and efficient management. Now that's even promised for do. So the come say education. The primary objective of the new direction now for increase access to quality pre-primary, secondary, technical and vocational secondary school. It will develop special scheme for science education teacher. It will provide free university education for 3 beginning of every secondary school teacher we don't teach for 10 years. It will establish teacher training campuses. Now all the districts, it will expand and improve distance learning. It will build and support one junior primary school. Now every administrative section, any section of the country. Then it will build a junior secondary school. Now every chiefdom headquarter. Then it will equip a science laboratory in every electoral constituency. It will construct school hostels for at least 500 Pikine. Establish functional district libraries and equip them with computers and promote mobile library, establish high school of excellence. Then I just run, it will launch the national program on civic education, and then it will take care of young people, women, them, pikin them, and the disadvantaged groups. You know, so he talk boku. The other thing again broke me interest. He say he go make light canal all the district capitals. He go initiate rural electrification program, supplying all towns where the population pass 20,000 people. Then he go explore the possibility for construct a toll bridge we go link Freetown and Green. Down at page 80 of the paper. It will increase public bus services now. All the areas, it will make 18-hour service a day. Then it will develop side outside motoka, then go dey stop. Na Mashaka, Rugbere Junction, Mile 91, Tahama, Moyamba, Bo, Makeni. It go give them facilities and it go make place suicide in the war, suicide people go dey sleep. It go build out toilet, it go build a restaurant. Then it will also provide more mass transit facility, especially in the bus, in the urban areas. Then one other side in neighbor could catch me interest. Then it will say it go spend 75,000 leons, then 10 a day, or $10 for textbook for all people when they go to this country. Then the core textbook then it go spend 150,000 or $20. It will provide 2 sets of uniform and shoe. Whether 10 they cost 75,000, but he said $10, 5 cents. Then it will give them other learning materials. When at 80,000, $10.5. So it been pledged for spend $51 for every picking where they go school in this country. And it been also say it go improve national cohesion, national unity. Cohesion is go critical. So he said it will initiate reforms for ensure that Sierra Leoneans then feel free for live and work any side of the country, regardless of the tribe, the region, and other considerations. Then he also said it will stop for it will improve the fight against corruption. He said, in fact, that will be a mantra. It will review the ACC within 100 days when they take power. It commit in your leadership for lead the fight against corruption. It will recognize corruption and it will make the economic cost of them is so low that saloon people go stop for think about corruption. It will improve the conditions of service of all the soldier men where they serve now with forces. It will ensure say then they recruit, then they promote, then they transfer, then they deploy service personnel across the country with fair, transparent manner. Then it will introduce community screening where you want for enter the ARSLAV. It will establish and it quick fire force then. Now all the district headquarters mean fire force go dem ya Makeni, ya Kailaung, Kabala, all about the country. Then it will take disaster management and it will pull them from Office of National Security. And one catch me, he say go give subvention to sludge. So that's some thing in me. I just pick and choose.
Okay, Mr. Ifike, at least you don't try for highlight. Few.
So if you ask me later now, I go one for grade and I want let the minister.
The many things the way the president, promise to the people of Sierra Leone. That are the foundation and the way upon which again election to office, giving a long list of things and way you show now say na the president been put. La come to that instead talk we through some of the things that we members say. Na then thing they inform the decision of Sierra Leoneans for elect the president some 5 years ago. Before we come to whether we're able to actualize all of them things in the let we just prick people in memory to the litany of promises the way the promise be make, the president may make, and see how far or how near he don't they for fulfill all of them promises. That I mean,
Me no go to the paperwork. I think one prominent one day will get for do the man when chief minister now, when Jacob Jusu Safa, he been assure we and the tape all over the place. We get a quick fix with regards to addressing the economic situation we'll be facing. Whether you don't deliver on that or not, we'll go for wait and see. We the minister will go for camp. And I don't think say since President Bill become president, I don't want the absent as alien. So in a way, a day, and the minister said day. So we go able to do the assessment because I just seen on my phone right now. The shameful thing would not be that now if you pull 1 million loan, you get 400,000 loans franc Guinea. To me, we loan not be too significant, but at least it be better by the Guinea franc. If the Guinea franc can become so important these days, well, the minister, honestly, it's so that in itself. And there was this issue where they talk about the Maputo Protocol. Maputo Protocol basically they talk about a percentage of amount of budgetary allocation for every state. So now, of course, me I get the budget. We will do the calculation and see if really government don't deliver on a 10% allocation to the Ministry of Agriculture, and also go for look at almost of the food they eat or the chop way because almost of and on day you look now Gary said don't unlock see. We'll go into renting and later eventually. But honestly, the president may really promise there will be a turnaround from the way things have been there. A lot of guys them the handlers be very very buoyant. They be very very just they look at things and say no this is what they happen. So I think Google can and bring a different approach for ensure say one business then thrive. Like waiting Mr. Ipike they talk about the question about bursaries. Bursaries, I mean, of course, we all know you get your connection. The connection, you go for address the road issue. Otherwise, you put one bus today, you go through one trip, maybe before ever complete the round trip, something don't go wrong with the very bus. So, and something that very, very important, a lot of ambiguity there with regards to the schooling, the support to schooling, subsidy, school subsidy. If people go tell you say, I don't know, I know say they mention uniform, they not so?
Yes.
They mention uniform day. We say 2 sets, right?
Yes, 2 sets of uniform.
Fine. And if we and a lot the budget we need to dollar. So we get for look at one, we break them down almost for the dollar, let's say like a $10 for example. So we equate to the loan now and say we'll do the general mathematics and so every picking now so you're supposed to forget as per waiting government promise. Is it happening? You understand? So all 1990. So and I don't know if something they will get for the bag. You understand?
Yes, it's a core textbook. They go pay the school fees $10. He go buy the core textbook $20.
Yeah.
He go give 2 sets of uniform, and he go give the picking shoe. Then at $10.5.
Yeah.
Then he go give other learning material when at $10.5. All in all, they plan for spend $51 for one picking.
For one picking.
Yes.
So now, I mean, we're not to expert in the forex. The handholding at the forex, they will tell you that figure there. Is it actually happening? So, I mean, I know a lot of job because just like what you pick, you know, say earlier when I said we really want to forget the minister. You understand?
Right.
Because it's about us with regards to what did not happen so far.
All right. Why should they wait the minister and Sidi Tunis for joining we online for we into this then topic here, so we don't set for discourse inside the program. I see UPK painstakingly they don't go to the manifesto and highlights. We know we will exhaust the whole of the manifesto, not at that time there.
Correct.
But then we'll look at the core pillars in that manifesto today. We the issues that we probably need for come discuss. The thing that we really want follow we take time for look One, we look at education, the president commitment to education. We look at the issue of bread and butter, talk about the economy. We look at agriculture. We look at we also want to look at youth employment. Um, then of course investment. Investment in the country where you equate and you give what you call job creation for
Stanley.
people them. So now then kids in there one for long way into
No,
because
wait,
you
I
know,
agree with you.
first
Wait, I want
yeah,
to let
exactly.
Stanley be
So,
so.
Wait
But
for me,
something
very
catch
detailed.
me mind where I just want for read where I been the promise. I want read down in English so that according this is the manifesto and part 4, improving governance. I read it in English. Do you want to patient me? It's in the last 10 years. The building blocks of national cohesion and the feeling of belonging of all citizens have gravely crumbled. The APC government strategy had been characterized by divisiveness, exclusion, and the weakening and subversion of state governing institutions. The pattern of dismissals, appointment, promotion, and transfer within the public service are amongst the most palpable, threatening our fledgling democracy and national cohesion. Since 2007, over 1,000 competent Sierra Leoneans have become victims of dismissals, demotions, transfer to second-rate departments in the civil service, public enterprise, and institutions, military and police, and even the universities and colleges have not been spared. Their only crime is their perceived non-support for the ruling APC or their region or origin. I want to read this because I want to make reference to this later. I think it looks stuck.
maybe it will be one of the make the way go constitute. So let's begin look at why should they wait for them
Okay.
political parties, the government spokesman and the APC, the public relation person for camp. I think we will begin for we look at then promises there. When the team we go and forget Sidi Tunis, we tell we the stock taking way, as opposition and we don't take. Um, le when once we able get Jamiru later on, we go continue, we go link them up. So they try forget CDI Tunis. I don't know if we don't get CDI. Sidi, good afternoon. Yeah. Sidi, it's been over 5 years we on our common office as government and take the back seat as opposition because the SLPP been bringing forward a manifesto where they able market where salon people are able for buy, where make salon people are able vote that government they for kind of power. And that 5 years where they say within that 5 years, all of them thing the way they put, they say nothing the way they go able for achieve. It don't pass 5 years now, and I think more than enough now for see whether then thing in the way the government been promise they don't fulfill them in preparedness for the next election for see waiting at the next set of promises and also tied to waiting on ourselves will bring at the market for the people there. So when are some of the stock they own have been on the take or waiting at the notable thing they own I believe say nine this government been promise say if they kind of power they go do just so that we help the public to understand from an opposition perspective. And later we'll get Solomon Jamiru for respond to some of them queries, and they only will tell you waiting at the thing that we really they don't achieve. But then from the opposition, law we waiting now some of the things they want to know say. Now him been there inside the SLPP manifesto, they didn't promise the people of this country. But then after 5 years, if we go back to them promises and they now one them way either they don't fulfill them in full or they not fulfill it.
Well, thank you very much, Sandy, and Madam Mubarak to read this one. Well, I will start first of all with the flagship project in our education. When you read the SLPP manifesto, they promise several things that when it comes to education. They talk say they will make education totally free for primary schools, secondary schools, and junior, primary and secondary, both junior and secondary. And when you say then they make a totally free school materials, uniforms, and everything inclusive. That is one. But today, when you look at education expenses, you will find out say yes, the government they give tuition assistance. But when we do real research, and according to UNESCO information, when it comes to education expenses, the parents they still they pay more than the government. Like when you take primary school, the parents and they pay 57% of total education expenses. So for any 100,000, for example, we for go towards education, parents and they pay 57,000 of that. Way more than we think government they pay. The same for junior secondary school, 65% of the total education expenditure and parents and still they take care of us. So then they spend more than government, we say free education. Under the same education, we look at education infrastructure. The SLPP then promised in 5 years, they will build one primary school in every section. Every administrative section of this country, there will be one primary school there. Me and you live in this country, get your section where you live, you know say definitely government will build any school in your section. Going beyond that, they say they will build one junior secondary school in every ward. Every ward. If you look at the political boundary, as per the last boundary, we get 511 wards. If you take into consideration the multi-member wards, the more. So which means that before build 511 junior secondary schools in this country, me and you know say that one they not happen. Then they also go say they go build one senior secondary school in every constituency in Salon inside 5 years. We get 132 constituencies, which means the FFP government for them be 132 senior secondary schools. Me and you know say that one is not happy. They also go ahead and say they will build one body home, one technical school, now every district in Salon, 16 districts. Me and you know say that one is not happy. We can't to teachers, the promises we they make to teachers. They talk say any teacher we want for, continuing education, the government will take care of you free. Now free education. You ask the teachers there, then will say that one they not happy, and the SSS they still pay for the education there. Then they also make this promise to teachers and say any teacher who don't teach in school past 10 years, 3 of you picking them will get free university education. Plenty teachers and we don't teach past 10 years, we get picking them, we government only take care of the university education. So them promises and they not happy. And then we look at the quality side of it. When this government comes, they make a lot of talk about this 6344 system where the previous government be don't put in place for ensure they begin and done the syllabus in time for the public exams and such as the WAS and the BECE. Then come, they make politics with science and then they go back to 6334. Now we don't find out say the 6334 not the work for several reasons. One, the beginning not they get time for complete the syllabus then, and two, the quality of teachers and the plenty teachers and we don't have by the payroll, the plenty not qualify for teach, and I will give the statistics later on. Plenty not qualify for teach. So what thing they happen? More and more beginning they drop out now before they even reach at the last stage. So we get thousands of beginning now, whether they complete them the care or the WAS because they're not able to pass on their first, second, and third attempt. And the quality of the education does so drop now under this administration to a point that all tertiary institutions they require beginning with a teach WAS for entrance exam then before they admit them at the universities and other tertiary institutions then. Because we don't find out the under this administration also, then they keep picking and grades for what they don't even teach subject then. We don't see a lot of that, especially this last was we happen. So we find out that even the flagship project, they promise before they make you know, commensurate to waiting they don't deliver. A far is below waiting they don't deliver at a manifesto. That's why we go to the economy.
All right. Before we go, let me checklist education. I get me panel. You highlight so many things. So from the opposition side, waiting go be a great way when I go say now you wanna go give the government for the flagship project way in education in terms of score. Before I take the take of the panelists and later on we'll get the minister for that.
Well, when you look at the promises that they make now the manifesto and all of the things that we don't highlight so we don't know able to meet, even when it comes to the quality of the education itself, I would say I would give it 25%, and for only one reason, because the introduction, no matter what you say,
you say 75%,
25%,
25.
Yes, the introduction of the free healthcare, the free education, increased access for beginning and primary and secondary. Yes, we see access increase. So for that, I will give them. But the problems are enormous. There's so many, and I still say the government will present the true picture of what really happen at the education sector.
All right, let's ask Emilia. You don't need the opposition. When they talk about the president in 5 years, and say delivering at the book learning side, especially at the basic and junior or senior secondary education, the opposition say they on grade for government now 25%. What do you think?
Okay, that now from the opposition point of view. For me, I think say I still they see I'm like 50-50 percent that the government waiting them promise and waiting they in reality. A lot of things them the way we go say them for don't do better, them for don't do more, them for don't do pass out and do so, considering the side where the education sector be there, and with the fact that the government it's a flagship project for them. Now key now that they want for left as a legacy. Say well, even if we go na power, we not do any other thing. But when it comes to the aspect of education, we able for change the narrative. So I they say 50% because of the kind awareness where they around people them go on at school, and again for we where be they push the radical inclusion of school going people them now one thing and the way we say, because over the years picking let we take for instance school picking them give them the bobo give the titi bele, you get a situation who say the bobo they conveniently go to school and the girl picking drop out of school simply because he don't get belly. Well, other people get perception, say, well, in fact, they influence other people for get belly, but we say no, we they look at them from a different point of view. So for me, that radical inclusion, now one way we feel say it don't help a lot. I don't imagine me, Emilia, we dey go school and I get belly, and after where I won't say I be decide say I know they go school again. Where so many of my colleagues they where they see out there na the streets where drop out now because they get belly where they go school, and after where them born and feel like it's okay and shame for go back to school and that kind of stuff. So for me, the radical inclusion under the education sector now one thing where I see where I say okay at the March 50. Of course, like I said, the awareness for let people there even different area picking and they say I'm going to school. Of course, at the other 50, you look at the feeding program. I begin to ask myself, why selected few? If government they know say they're not able to feed every other person, why they even attempt? Well, people go say when I test case, then we join one for try, but begin for ask for how long then they test, for how long then will continue for reach out, and 5 years almost done. So now the next 5 years where then go come, if then go come, then say that anyone completes the other side them, and even the one that way they say na test case, waiting at the quality of the food, waiting at the quality of waiting and they give the picking and they say one for diversify we eating habit. I begin for ask now by force for that diversify me eating habit. You forgive me Gary by force if I no want for eat Gary. If na other thing me feel say I don't they eat over the years. So for me I think say some of them areas and then area and then also the exam stem. People begin for question themselves how credible the exam stem they were picking and they go sit the kind grades they were picking and they pull how really credible their exam stem they did. So a lot of questions stay around the education sector where the president really or the SFPP government say now a priority to them. So for me I say I give them 50-50 based on some of the things them where I don't I like. There are lots of other things them, but for the time I think say now just some of the other one for
So
right.
I come to you, PK. You don't agree the opposition then their own analysis of which you obtain at the Buclan inside, given the promises where government may make. Whether you don't take and you on
I will surprise you.
your score for
Well, you know,
government
honestly,
and
I don't want for let you limit me to education.
no, they
because
force with they
I-
can't go on the other
they
side
don't
because
well, you see. So honestly, if me a very liberal person, I could give them 45. We na D plus. Why I say so? They say that they spend 22% of GDP on education, and but take the tuition fee. This money where they alla for na 10,000 per for one primary school in 10,000 euros. Mm? Then the JSS na 75,000. Mm? Then they pay 25,000 first term, second term 25, third term 25. Then the SS na 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. As we they talk and don't pay the 50,000 for first term, the second term they not pay it. Then me now one person we don't believe in radical inclusion because it is schools not a place where then they learn no more. Now place where then where then they pass on morals. When me picking we no get belle, go sit down na class with another picking you know we get belle. You know what in that picking they tell and say you can as well go get belle. So for me, I would have been very fair to them for getting like a 50, but I give them 45 when a mediocre pass on education. I don't want to go small to the economy. I don't know if you want to rush it.
no, we therefore go back to
Okay.
to Sidi Tunis for
Okay.
talk with you on that one day
Okay.
before
So
we return. So you don't you allow time to Dami.
okay.
You know one person will get huge interest per Buklan inside. Wouldn't it take
Stakeholder
5
in
years?
education
5 years of ABO presidency in delivery on education. What are the opposition side? And soon we'll get the government inside.
You know, honestly, government gets itself caught up into waiting and promise in the education sector. For example, let's say we ensure say we go back to the single shift system. Of course, all my ways don't I go tell you say now very few schools on their own where will go because simply because that side they cost plenty money developing the infrastructure you get for a lot additional buildings. With regards to I they tell you you achieve one thing there, other team they can't for count you. Like you became mention about the issue with the payment of the school fee subsidy. They say they don't collect money and then picking a way and government as the schools. But the money only come on time. I will tell you, heads of schools that they will they in debt to the suppliers. Some they even avoid certain routes because they will collect them. And government don't talk enough for collect money from anybody at school picking. So that one day in itself, it will hold them back. Yeah, but with regards to publicity, ensuring the importance of education, that one day has been achieved.
Absolutely.
Any administrator or administration now can just leverage on them and move on. And let me be honest with you. Now, just like how the current administration inherits the free quality, the free healthcare, it go difficult for us to get another administration where we can and say let parents them pay for them picking at the school system. You go only try for do some adjustments into them and maybe look at those over ambitious areas then you try for look within your budget. But again, knowing the deception we politicians in this country, it is always that they will play along, even though inside they say they know say they're not going for deliver. But to be honest, there are a lot of things where government could have done better with regards to the education sector. So scoring them, they will just be in between. In between.
So we say in between, we not the score.
In between, they talk about 50.
So yeah, Emilia, on a day in agreement, but then below 50, the opposition as a party and UPK scored in that one day. To you think say they don't go halfway into the polling?
Exactly, sure. Yeah.
That they book line
Yeah.
All right. Well, another question. Anybody in your opinion with regards to Ingrid? Now we go to the next
the economy.
Sidi. Now talk about the economy. We're very, very crucial because they deal with people in livelihood, bread and butter, and many other issues. This government been come on the platform say then we can fix the economy. Then we'll fix the economy in one area, call in 6 months, but holistically within 5 years, a lot of things and they will been there along the line where we think say this government suppose or already don't deliver on when the one on the economy. So what not the opposition in take with regards to the economy, giving this government in performance that they in 5 years.
Well, thank you very much again. The economy, the one side this administration hit the previous government hard on. And I want area around where they campaign, then blame me for everything. They say we need rent 60,000 in 207. Now we make a 200,000. Found it too expensive for the people. They say we need $300,000. We left them at 750,000. That one is too much. We meet external debt low. We hit them to 16 trillion. They say we wage bill very high. They will reduce the wage bill with a cap. And then we'll make sure they reduce the debt. Then we'll get fiscal policy. We will ensure they reduce wasteful spending. Then cut down on overseas travel. And also they could make the economy affordable for all Sierra Leoneans. And then use the audit report for say we wasteful, we're not transparent, we're not accountable, we misappropriate all of our money. But now let me look at the reality of all the promises we they make. And I will start first of all with the dollar itself. We then bash for plenty. We then meet at 750,000. We then say they will reduce. Today, dollar at 2,200. And we currency the leu are one of the worst performing currency in the world to a point that for the first time in the history of the country, the Guinean currency don't value past you. We now, if you take 100,000 for example, and 40,000 Guinean francs you could get. We trade, then midterm, if you give 100,000, you get 150, 160,000 Guinean francs. So that in itself don't show the name of manage your economy. Now we come to external debt, where they hit before. They meet external debt at 16 trillion. Today, we get 40 trillion in external debt. Wage bill. They meet wage bill at 1.9 trillion, where they say be very high, then go cut them down. And in just 5 years, they don't raise them to 4.8 trillion. Now they give excuses say that because they are teachers and nurses. Well, them two categories, they not even constitute 20% of the total wage pool. May I just say that one day clearly. Then we come to the audit report where they talk about misappropriation. Just the 2021 audit alone report, where they now audit the office of the president, where they now audit the office of the vice president, where they now audit the office of the first lady for the first time, they say because they not meet the threshold. 187.3 billion. I don't know able account for just 1 year. Now, if you combine 2015, 2016, and 2017 audit, 178.7 billion. So in just 1 year, they lost more money than 3 years combined. So, but they hit the previous administration. Now you come to the prices of commodities. We just need to understand. Look, when President Anis Bakroma came into governance in 2007, in 2008, the world got hit with the worst commodity crisis. Wholesale prices of all commodities go up. In fact, that year the oil per barrel go to $145 and the highest they don't ever go. But even with that, we able to keep the price of fuel at 3,750 because of the economic measures that we will introduce. Before Ebola, this country economy be do well, that they job salary as one of the fastest growing economy. Ebola dropped the GDP to minus 21%. But just after Ebola, they introduced measures which so many people they now call austerity, when I just measures to ensure they you put in place prudent measures to bounce the economy back. Then bash are put for that. We're able to rebound the economy to 6.5% and keep inflation at 14.9%. Today, under this administration, inflation at 43%, almost 44% now. Rest don't move from 200,000 to 650,000, some areas a day for 680,000. Petrol don't move from 6,500 inside a meter to 21,500 per liter. In fact, if you go down some village then, now 40,000 per liter, then they sell petrol. And you know, that one they don't affect every other price. Gary, when I do 300, now at 2,000 for packet. It don't affect every other thing and it don't make them so difficult for the people of this country able to afford their daily bread and the economy don't become worse. Now they want to blame them on COVID. But the fact of the matter is COVID don't see other countries don't put measures in place to manage the economy just like how we able to put measures them in place during Ebola for manage the economy. But the fact of the matter is the excessive spending of this administration, such as overseas travel. The president alone don't travel over 300 times. And if you look at the audit reports in just 1 year, then they allocate 21 billion just for the president in travel. Not even the rest of the government, just the presidency alone. 21 billion for travel. That is exorbitant amount of money. You know, we see this administration they spend. And the wage bill, even as the president, you know, now they do overtime because April 4th don't pass, we still see that they employ people. Even as we prepare for elections, then still they do more employment, they still they add on the wage bill, wage just exorbitant. And we see how also the many audit reports, the misappropriations, money being spent where the neighbor account for. We also see how they see seriousness for make their address. So all of them to spend in the household, they just surmount the economic problem and they increase and increase the inflation and it will make it more and more difficult for them and not able to afford the daily living. Let me not forget when the previous government cap, the minimum wage can be 25,000 euros. They increased that to 500,000. Rice was 200,000 a bag. So the minimum wage they able to buy you a bag of rice and money left. And the administration also they subsidize many other areas, even including university tuition to a point of paying 75%. So parents can still be able to forget areas where they're pushing. But today, under this administration, minimum wage is 600,000 and not able to buy you a bag of rice. I just need to do an analysis where they look at the price list of commodities and today. If in a household of about 3 people, you, the wife, and 2 beginners, you will need to spend at least 150,000 a day batch of money alone. So the minimum wage is 600,000, can adjust 4 days of money, they don't do. So that is how what the economy is. To the point that it make it really difficult for them to afford the daily living. And as it is now, this administration not still forget answer at all to the economic problems because we still see excessive spending, addition on the wage bill, misappropriation, blatant corruption under this administration. So all of the promises we make for putting prudent economic measures, you look at the monetary policy, the bank governor can't tell you say we need for bring in new money. We bring in the new money, spend millions for print new money. The new money comes into circulation, the old one is supposed to go out of circulation. Now with all of the millions we will spend for print this new money, one, the new money not add any value to the currency. And two, the old money was supposed to be out of circulation now. It even plenty now in circulation than the new money. To the point that when you go to bank, they will give more of the old money now than the new money. So they can't use to spend in all of the help. And the same governor also tell you say it spent $68 million for go bribe people na street for bring back foreign currency into the government coffers. Now the question is, first of all, how you able to determine how much foreign currency they out? And two, you spend $68 million for bringing foreign currency. How much dollar you able to recover from that bringing? Nobody knows. And the same governor can put in fiscal monetary policy which just for the rule. We all know in this country now cash trade economy with the run. Business people will take their physical cash and go buy, then come and sell. Now if you come with a policy say if you get $100,000 in a bank, you're only allowed for withdraw $10,000. If you get for withdraw more than that, you can't explain to me the governor first why you want to withdraw more than $10,000 of your money. So all of these things they did make a lot of people probably not to keep money in a bank again. They cause massive shortage. So when you look at all of the economic policies what this administration come with, and now the monetary policy, the way the businesses will struggle. Now even as I speak, they don't introduce a finance act where they increase the tax burden, not only on businesses, but even on you and you. To the point that if you now go for going to buy a fan at a restaurant, you go for pay 2% for tourism levy, so that the tourism minister and his staff will continue for travel overseas. All of those things that they don't show that this administration really, really not get the people of this country at heart, not get the business people at heart, and the policies that really geared towards putting more suffering on us than really solving the economic problem.
Sidi, so now I ask you the question. 5 years, what thing would be your rating for government on handling the economy?
Economy has been the worst, really. I will give them 20% because not only that they're not able to fulfill any of the promises that they make in terms of managing the economy and making life affordable, but they don't make it worse. And they'll continue to make it worse than inside the meantime. So for that, they don't even deserve anything more than 20%.
All right, okay. We'll get the Deputy Minister of Information, where that office they also the talk for Sika government, Solomon Jamiru Esquire. Good afternoon, Mr. Minister.
Good afternoon, Stanley. Good afternoon, Ms. Famulde.
All right, Mr. Minister, we don't start the program already, and we late a bit for able to get you for join. We don't start for look at 5 years of this government here so in our office versus the promises and when at the foundation we inform the election to office. We don't deal with book learning, when education, and the opposition say then they grade government 25% for deliver on the campaign promises on education. So tell me how much this government don't do na the book learning side, and how comfortable una go give yourself a grade where go able tie to what you obtain the reality you obtain at the ground, especially on book learning side.
Okay, thank you very much. First, let I say adieu to my brother Sidi, and for apologize that I joined on late. Sunday is usually challenging for me because of our services, and today's our service still there on with pastor in 40th birthday, and I am part of the planning. So I even not able to do my presentation yet. I don't step out just for can talk to now.
Thank you.
On education, well, I think we all as Sierra Leoneans feel very proud. There was a time where they referred to Salone as the Athens of West Africa, where the world is spotlight today on Sierra Leone. People then they come all over Africa because they value education, the Kanaya, and people then all over the world begin respect for institutions like Trabe College. I think what it don't begin happen now under President Julius Maada Bio. They look like say the same way then they call Salone as the Athens of West Africa. They believe say now under President Julius Maada Bio, Sierra Leone is becoming the Athens of the world. Why are they talk so? Unlike the opposition now, where they talk say them will grade with educational policy and the output at 25%. One of the ways where they think say that an unfair percentage to we, and they believe say in terms of education, they believe say it's still work in progress, but in terms of what we don't do in 5 years, you cannot grade President below 90% in education. Why do I say this? Stanley, today, Salone now among one of the top 5 countries in the world in terms of funding education from the national budget of 21-22%. That is one thing. Secondly, we Minister for Basic and Senior Secondary Education, David Moynihan ascended. The whole world look at all the education policies, look at all the ministers them or where they perform, and they single out we Minister for Basic and Senior Secondary Education as the best minister in the world. That also they show say not to win a Salonia. Now the world don't look at Salone and say Salone get the best minister because we get the best educational policy. Today, the world they use with educational policy, with templates, with examples, radical inclusion, including girls, getting girls for get more pass rates. In the first 2 years of the rollout of free quality education, we get more than a 35% jump in school enrollment. Under this same president, even though APC they talk now say that they grade with 25% in education. When time comes for the United Nations General Assembly beat in New York, the Secretary General of the United Nations, he look all the other presidents in the world. He take President Julius Maada Bio. He said now we too can talk about the Global Transformation Education Summit. What is make Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, he not pick no other leader in the world. He pick President Bio. He said now me and you can talk about transforming education. Stanley, the reason we make aggregated examples here, now for them we fumble the way they listen to me, whether in McKinney or in any other part of the world, say, dear, this president don't do well because of President Julius Madabio in effort. The whole world don't see Salone as maybe the finest example when we talk about education. So if opposition they talk say that they give it 25%, I think so that is very unfair. I think that this president don't do so well in terms of education, and Stanley, under the circumstances, it's not of the economic difficulties we don't grip the whole world today. Salone will have done more than what is happening. So me, for start, I believe 25% is unfair. It don't represent really the efforts where this government don't make and the output where they see in we begin them. Yes, there are challenges in terms of getting quality teachers. Yes, there are challenges in terms of money because we country in money with GDP at $4 billion, small economy. But even in despite the challenges, what in this administration don't do in 5 years, don't make the whole world don't recognize that Sierra Leone is on track to be perhaps the best example in terms of education at the world. And I think we all, regardless of any party we did, we should be proud that we are on a sound footing.
All right. I will get every reason for revert back to the opposition because when I'm in the make them case, you know, been there. So maybe we they already don't get the rating at 25%. We don't begin on the economy. We don't talk on the economy. Outside the opposition also say then they rate the this government 20% because of many reasons that we didn't have. Some of them one and day you will meet up them we join with. So when our governments own the response with regards to the economy, the handling of the economy.
Okay. So on the economy, President Bill don't do very well. Now, when we talk about the economy, I want to formally understand here. Unlike the same way APC did in a power for 10 good years, and I will go back to small history. Records there where they suggest Sierra Leone was maybe the fastest or maybe one of the fastest growing economies in West Africa or in Africa. In the second term of Dr. Anes Bai Kuruma, before he left, Dr. Anes Bai Kuruma in government declare austerity. We mean say arara, nothing no be day. Even for salaries, for provide goods and services, for run the operations of government, it be extremely difficult. And then declare an austerity. Now, sometimes APC for talk say, well, the reason we could declare austerity is because of Ebola. But now, let's look at Ebola and we look at COVID-19. Ebola affected Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia, then maybe far away Congo and Uganda. But under President Julius Madabio, when he came, some of the executive orders were released. One, for example, now on revenue mobilization. Revenue mobilization moved from about 5 to 6 billion a day when they collect. It jumped to about 19 to 20 billion a day in terms of collection. This government started on a very sound footing. And then coronavirus started in Wuhan. And then in March 2020, coronavirus don't hit Sierra Leone. And it virtually hits the whole world. Today, the whole world gets an economic crisis. Unlike APC, where you go talk, say, okay, they might have had an excuse of Ebola not be ravaged the whole world. When means say APC is still the leverage on support from virtually every rich nation in the world for support them. Even with all the support that came, they still declared an austerity for us. Under COVID-19, as difficult as it has been, Salone not declare any austerity. When they prove say President Julius Madabio has been able to manage this economy well, professionally, in a sound, efficient, and effective manner more than the past administration for the past 10 years. As difficult as things have been, even during COVID-19, we make sure, say, as a government, the first thing what we do, we establish what we call the Quick Action Economic Response Program. During that program, this government, they support businesses for important items like food, medicine, fuel, just for make sure, say, things not go out of control the way they go out of control in other countries. Now, here we see the Munafa Fund, where they support small and medium-scale enterprises. Now, here we see President Julius Madabio in government, because now Cobra government, because we not just want for save lives, but we also want for maintain livelihoods. We see support go to, for example, the tourism industry, the hospitality industry, because they realize that sector there has been one of the hardest way affected by COVID-19. As difficult as COVID-19 has been, yet this government not declare any austerity. President Julius Madabio able to maintain a stable economy. Some people then go talk about inflation. Some people then go talk about exchange rate. As a government, and we believe we need to acknowledge challenges there in terms of inflation, challenges there in terms of exchange rate. And then economic challenges not to start no more. Standing with people that are waiting at McKinney now. First, they wait until you family and go they send for you $100 every month for supporting family. Now you ask anybody in America or England or Germany or any first world nation, they will tell you say it's difficult. Now, if your uncle wants for full up in tank in London, for example, he needs nothing less than £100 for full up in tank and fuel. So this economic difficulty not to salon no more, it did the whole world. But even with this economic difficulty, with development partners there, whether not IMF, whether not World Bank, whether not Islamic Development Bank, whether not African Development Bank, whether not European Union, they still continue for deal with we. And none of them not ever suggest salon economy day in the bad shape with a pull out. But before APC they go out of power, agencies like the World Bank and the EU, one for transparency issues, and the other one because government not able to meet the conditionalities, they're able to disconnect, they pull hand from salon. That's not happened under President Julius Madabio in government. No funding partner, no development partner, no say that they pull out because we're not able to manage the economy or because we're not able to meet conditionalities. So in the first 5 years of President Julius Madabio, we get a fundamental difference in terms of managing the economy. If the APC be there for COVID-19 come, that different thing for us worse. But this government has been able to keep the economy of Sierra Leone afloat, even in spite of the terrible pressures we did. So anybody, I mean, if APC said that they give this government, I don't know the percentage what you call.
You say 20, I mean, so wait till you go grade, wait till you go grade on a government on.
Stanley,
yes,
with all the successes and all the international accolades where Salon they enjoy, if APC say they will give you 25%, then I'm not going to be surprised even if APC say they will give you 0%.
So what are the grade where you think say now grade where you could say this is how to achieve in handling the economy?
I mean, as a Sierra Leonean, I will say it is a great President Bio in terms of the economy. It has been over 60%. I will say that. The other percentage, of course, as I said, because of the difficulties, and then difficulties not to Yama more.
Right.
Stanley, you go to Guinea now, because in Como Guinea, the driver will take him from the hotel, he asked him, he said, how the economic situation? He said that man begin, he said when the man they explain, after the man they knock the steering. So man go talk say, oh, if you look at Guinea, in terms of the inflation, it better pass alone. If you look at the exchange rate, it better pass alone. If you look at the food stuff, it cheaper pass alone. But yet still, with people already around Gambia and Pamla, they will tell you, say, all time when they fit together, they come on the high, they go Guinea. If things cheap now Guinea pass here, why things are for the Comoya Guinea? That means something is wrong with the fundamental indexes where people that they talk about. So for me, I really don't want for the begin compare, say, the cheap now Guinea pass here. If it is cheaper in Guinea, why things are the Comoya Guinea?
All right. Okay.
So we think that really President Bio has done very well. There are challenges, as I say, as a government, we're sincere enough. Like every other government, you talk to Rishi Sunak in England, they will tell you, of course, you know, Rishi Sunak right now, the conservative government in UK, you know the economic difficulties where they get. You talk to Joe Biden, it will tell you the inflation where they now, they have not seen for the past 40 years. So even though what the inflation will be as alone. United Kingdom get inflation problem. America get inflation problem. Every nation in the world get inflation problem. It's not going to be the same percentage. And some people also don't they argue, say, if you look at we debt to GDP ratio, sometimes it is high in us alone. But certainly this government therefore invest. If you take education, no more Stanley, with 22% of the budget they go to education. If you look at what in government they spend all the time for pay teachers, for support public education, buy tuition book, pay tuition fees, buy context books for taking them, recruit nurses, recruit teachers. If you look at all the money where government they spend, certainly you therefore expect say the money where government they expend, certainly you therefore expect say they therefore expand the debt portfolio.
All right.
But that money that the government they spend are for very good reasons.
Okay.
Government not they go take out for put on our pocket. Now for we picking them.
All right. Let give Sidi 2 minutes. Get to topic where you know we can call. Maybe just maybe it will get an input for able way into waiting the minister says since it will make them point in the way the minister not in there. Hello.
Hello, Stanley.
Yes, please.
Yes, Stanley. I mean, you asked me a question.
No. Sidi, I ask. I again 2 minutes for way into it. You don't say because the way we making case you not been there.
Well, in the first place, austerity no mean the country don't pata. Austerity na measures wey you dey put in place for able to manage your economy for let it not get out of hand. Like for example, after Ebola, the government introduced economic measures wey dem term austerity. I remember very well, for example, the fourth trip na United States as minister for go UN. We all know the way ministers they travel na business class and they buy for the most time. But that year we always go UN now economy class they buy for because government wants to control we economy, want to manage the economy so they save money. That line of austerity. This government comes with $500 million reserve. So they don't meet the economy they count the minister they claim. That is one. I also they see always as we talk that they compare with to USA, UK. That is an unrealistic comparison. Because this country the economic powers, the economic strength, the earnings for citizens far exceed you. So that are unrealistic comparison. No come to Guinea now. Guinea, they said like they suffer COVID, but they able to manage the economy. Fair like Guinea, 12,000 Guinean francs, which is far less expensive than the manager. They still able to manage the inflation in single digits. Far. And this idea say, Naya Guinea they can't take food, that is not true. Naya we all do. Now they go Guinea, they buy products and they carry them Naya. If we get enough food, as how minister they claim, the global hunger index just come up. We don't show say Sierra Leone now the second hungriest country in the world. How we go get enough food as how the minister they claim saying other countries that they can't take food go, then we hungry. Then we not able to afford the food. We not able to buy the food. We not get money for buy the food. The fact is the food not available. The one therefore they say not enough. Now that means we heavily dependent on importation. So how you can claim say we get enough and it cheap, now you make Guinea we can't buy Naya. Which sense it make? So I just want to make then clarification.
All right. Okay. So now let's come to me guest me panelist now. So I want to begin with UPK. Both government and the opposition don't talk on the economy. Whether you take with regards to the case the way they all present on the handling the economy 5 years on.
Before you go to take at the CC, they show immense disrespect for we because of somebody in late comment. I come back to it our first. If you ask me for give them the grade, I give them 20% over 100 when I F grade on the economy. Why? I think so. The SLPP manifesto been saying that they improve macroeconomy. they will develop the private sector, they will strengthen the financial sector, they will develop agriculture, they will improve the management of mineral resources, and they will improve the management of gas and exploration, and a lot of other things. Come back to the economy. Look, the depreciation of the leon to the dollar. Well, Sidi said now 2 million leons to the dollar. Yeah, Makenia today now 2,250,000 leons for $100. Then the increase in the pump price of petrol. I think say when you want for trigger and problems that the economy, you want for high price, just increase the pump price of fuel. I think say this is not one of the problem. And the cost of living extremely high. The common man, a bag of rice they sell for 650,000 leons. The lady who can buy rice, they don't want me say from next week Tuesday. One bag rice now 610,000. And not all man in the cell day, so now for special breed of human beings. And waiting the minister Jamiru no go tell you we know Sierra Leone day on the verge of default. Now the IMF. Right? And the financial bill of 2023 now panic mode for keep the IMF happy. So now make it say now, well, now to go eat in a restaurant. Me the cook for myself. We go eat in a restaurant now, you will get for pay something. So the Finance Act now desperate attempt for placate the IMF for increase the burden of the common man and woman as I guess I don't even understand why a serious government, 2 months to election, they go enact such a killer bill. I think say so they prefer for squeeze the common man and what in the mistakes where SLPP do when they come they squeeze the productive sector of the economy, tax everybody, excessive taxation. The tax burden in this country, the tax regime is so high. And because they don't kill the productive sector, they don't kill businesses, now the common man will they sell pepper and granite now they can tax more and more. And the Sierra Leone, the public debt, I check them, public debt, anybody can go Google. Now being Google people will say, well, not to see, but now being 69.09% of GDP in 2018. As of this morning, now 98.85 of GDP. And when you Google the most debt country in Africa, Sierra Leone, 78.09% of GDP. What they do? They pursue policies where things say no, take free quality. Ghana get free SHA, then they try for get bottom. And me, I want for advice, feature APC, feature SLPP, or whichever they go, government or they can next, let them abandon free quality. Or if even they're not ready for abandon them, let them not make up for every manner of people. Take certain area when we go call pockets of poverty. You don't need free quality in a McKinney, you don't need an Abo, you don't need an Afrito, you don't need an at the big towns. Go to the villages. Or ask parents for pay matching fund. Right? Government primary school they pay 30,000 for school fees. Let we parents pay another 30 or 50,000, right? So that money, because then they starve the school system, the principals, the headmasters, they grumble. As we talk, they don't pay second term fees. So why go pursue a reckless policy because you want to appear very nice to the voters and most times they just want for they tell you, oh, they don't make this person the best minister. Do I need somebody sitting in London, Brussels, or New York for tell me, say, we minister, not the best minister? Eh? They don't improve the economy. Go to the market. Go to the market and let you see. You see, one thing with economics, you know the fixer. As you fix her, you go to the market, the prices will expose you. One cup rice, na bumbu na area be this year, 4,000 for one cup. Na palm oil. The Wetima is now 5,000. And then go say Tomabum. What has become of Tomabum? So the economy are not really like. So if you ask me for grade them, and then come back to the redenomination, that was an arrangement made in hell. Remember they asked the bank governor, whose economic benefit this will bring? They say feel good. Economics no want to feel good. Not to feel good. I still remember that they echo to the minister, well, we go just feel good. Why did the care go price? Why did the care go rest na Guinea? You know what you do? Me people like come Tonkolimba. Tonkolimba they share boundary with Guinea. If you take a bag of rice from Sierra Leone, you go sell it at Guinea, you dey get more Guinean franc with value. So people prefer for take them from Tonkolimba, Samu, and the rice growing belt na Gambia, smuggle across the river, go make more money. When I strong money, this na some of the thing. So the cost of living, one bag rice, almost for pepper 7,000. Yabas, then small yabas. In fact, 2 small malt fish. Na bumo na 10,000. Yeah, na 8,000. The common man they suffer. I mean, the economic mecca where President Bill been promised in 2018, you know, reach it. So if you ask me for grade them, I'll give them 20%. Manabio, if I for grade Manabio, 20% for transforming the economy when a flat fail.
All right, Emilia.
Stanley, for me, I think say the grade where I give for the education sector not going to be the same with the economy. I don't need no economist for can explain, give me theories as to why salon they suffer and why I begin get comparison with America. Compare, tell me what say the war na Ukraine and Russia, and begin for tell me all of them things 10 day. Just from a layman point of view, whether we like it or not, Sierra Leone economy not sweet at all, and people they suffer. For me, I can just put them in that plain language there that Sierra Leone with economy, people they suffer. And for me, anytime where a day na kind debate like this, and they talk about the economy of Sierra Leone, I always they wish for get the opportunity for meet with Minister JJ Safar. I always they wish. I they wish with passion. Not for let me talk economics because I'm not an economist. But for now we talk the simple terms them where it be they talk during the campaign process, during the electionary process in 2018. Me na me one person wey be the admire. I must confess. Me na one person wey be the admire so much in me entirety. The kind of way where JJ Safar be they present the economy of Sierra Leone and waiting them go do for change the narratives, change the cost of price. Looking at waiting by then be the price of food where the APC be then a power and where them go kind of power the kind way where them go change the price of food. I still they remember in one of the discussions them where we get where Minister Safabi they tell people, but the number of employment where the APC don't do and how can they get a triple effect on the economy and how it make people they suffer in Sierra Leone and waiting them go do for Koba they all them. And like they say, me not an economist standing, so I'm not going to big economics, but I explain this for let the people they understand. Waiting me we understand 9 years and day where Minister Safabi they tell me, but waiting now the plans for let them do. And one thing when me be admire, now the holes them, the leakages where they go come for cover for ensure say the kind waste where they happen. Now the government then not go happen again. And then of recent times, in me on my new thinking, I begin for watch again for see the number of employment, call it from the ministerial positions, call it from different angle. If you take it for begin compare from the APC days to now, you can begin for ask yourself, wetin e be mean really? So now that make una dey see the kind urge I get for still sit down with JJ Safa for us. Wetin e be mean then? When we dey talk about reducing, closing the gap, is it the opposite of wetin me dey see now? Looking in terms of employment, the kind of offices created, the kind of different things. In terms of travel, I still the hear. So now me I want us to not like for talk about president in travel. I not like for talk about her because I still dey remember. And when anytime I want for talk about her, I dey get angry with Minister JJ Safa for ask myself if he not in this government at all. For them think the way he be dey explain Giri, but waiting at the implication of the continuous travel and how they go address the issues they need. So Mr. Nileka say when it comes to the issue of the economy, I don't need no economist na Sierra Leone. I don't need nobody for begin compare me with America, for begin compare me with this, for begin compare me with, and the fact remains the current situation of Sierra Leone is nothing to write home about.
Now.
For me, it's I begin 40%, 50% na education. This I don't even get percentage for.
Yeah, you must get
I give percentage.
Yeah.
Okay, like give 30, I go manage with 30.
All right, Dame.
Me, you know, some go say it takes a gentleman for accepting Tino to do well. Because I remember Ruto in Seweka, Kenya, where infrastructure wise, with regards to budget, then they are ahead of way. They say, I doubt if this want to go for peace alliance. Hold up. Make a come to the comparison then. You know, the minister, he forced me for go global simply because he go global.
Me I no go no side.
You know, he mentioned Rishi Sunak, he mentioned Biden. America and Britain, whether Britain get prime minister or not, that society they function properly.
Absolutely.
Whether America gets president or not, that society they function properly because now states they already run by institutions, not by individuals. Yesterday, when the Germans they shut down the only nuclear power plant because the people they say no, we want electricity but no one can through nuclear power because you get risk. Imagine who. Yeah. So he explained how far they don't come up in darkness. Okay, now the Ukrainian grain they flood the neighboring Poland, Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia, Hungary. They not stop and no, they not come inside because they get local farmer for protect. You understand? Because if the farmer then go broke, listen to me, they serious student at the wall, then they subsidize farmer. Because you the farm, listen, a hungry population, they're difficult for control. They can even decide for go share their hunger with those in authority, Jamiru for example. And if I go share my hunger with them, it will be uncomfortable. So the question of the comparison, my cousin sent for me 45 euro. Now 1,330,000 euros that I collect. A shame. 45 euro per the receipt. That one day, imagine you dey pay 100 pounds per taxi for navigate from one city in UK to the other one. That is 100 pounds. Because now high income country them, you know they feel them if you spend that money on that. As my cousin mentioned, say 100 pounds. Now as I say, wait me do I take my calculator. He said, forget about your loan. He said, if you talk about your loan, you go fail for spend money now. Honestly, that's what he said. He said, forget about your loan. So for me, yesterday, I go for go buy beef, 50 grand for 1 pound beef, 50,000 euros. No,
Una still eat beef.
no, this is not Ramadan. False life inside. Listen, false life inside Ramadan. A lot of homes, they drink tea inside Ramadan.
Yeah.
Well, for the past 11 months, they not be drink tea. I tell you, a lot of homes. Immediately, you know, who come on and pre-fill, case closed, pass on Ramadan and drink tea back. This is the time. So, and a lot of homes, I tell you, I can see no people and they eat today because of Ramadan. Otherwise, we know they eat together. So, because they pull the food now, we want for give some, you know what I mean? Let it look like I say, it represents that I mean reality. And they can't wait him and the jungle, they say, listen to me. I don't see the roti leon there, then the old leon there. I don't see him back. Remember, money then don't be get ready. We go for go change at the bank. I don't begin this, they don't come back. So it means that the old leon been there, it been stuck somewhere. To me, it explain, you know, down in where man said the Achilles heel. Now in can collapse. Now in the evidence now need say the one who run the economy, they're clueless. Honestly, they're clueless. You can't forget somebody of that stature, Professor Calon. I think, you know, I think once again, SAB, not to everybody. I think some people like them planning if only for train economists.
No, you see,
not for manage economy.
No, Professor Kalona, an academic. You don't bring a campus.
So for me, gentlemen, we talk about job creation. Hey, la telling her, me, I not care about what people say. Somebody tell we say, me, I talk about the informal sector, and the informal sector, I swear to God, a lot of businesses they don't collapse. But couldn't close
because of excessive taxation.
But couldn't close, but couldn't collapse. Some they in debt, some don't run away because some not even able to pay for paying shopping rent.
So now they don't close the business. Now we now they want follow.
They have done that.
Now they eat in a
so for me, I don't know the progress way don't happen with Minister Jamiru from when he become minister. Well, maybe he don't make some progress economically, but let remember say. He's a minister because there are Sierra Leoneans. So in assessment for be based on the well-being of Sierra Leoneans. And I think, gentlemen, the percentage corner is really abysmal.
Give him percentage. 30. Okay, dear, I have a question for Jamiru. They are big, I pray. Jamiru,
with a question or with the accident, let them explain.
No, that's something. Okay, well, the point is, and when they talk about president in travel, I really want to know what's been the economic benefit of the president in Go One, now the inauguration, na Kenya.
That question, the Jamiru no go answer.
You no go answer. Okay, because gentlemen.
Okay, yes. Part of
no, not part of the travel. No, not part of the travel. Now the economy they talk about the travel.
Now we talk about improving governance way. Also, the inside the SLPP the manifesto. So, Minister Jamiru, tell me about improving governance. How in 5 years this government will improve governance before we get the opposition then take on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. My brother IBK or I don't remember.
UPK.
UBK did a left arc for me. I know when you start for you say I show disrespect. I mean, when I all know me for that by now.
Okay, yeah, I know, yeah. Okay, I know, you know, absolutely gentleman. I get immense respect for you.
Disrespect
Okay. Very true.
Secondly, okay, on just perhaps 1-2 lines, Stanley, before I come to governance. On taxes. You know, why should they look at maybe what government is seek for introduce the new Finance Act in terms of applying taxes now a few lines of business. I also think so for the President Bio kudos because when it comes to rice, Stanley, this government eliminates GST and import duty on rice. It is zero GST, it is zero import duty. If you look at cement, I don't know if that be the 2021 Finance Act or 2022, they reduce the import duty from 20 to 10% for cement and reduce them for iron rod from 10 to 5%. So this government also done the make efforts for make sure say whatever difficulties doing for businesses, for the people that consume basic necessities, this government na Cumbra government. So why should they look at maybe 2% added to water or this? People also remember say this government done they eliminate GST and import duty for rice and equally reduce import duty on cement and iron ore because this government knows that these are critical items for people that need. In terms of comparison, I don't really compare.
All right, go on.
Yeah. I really not compare salon economy with other economies. If we really follow the submissions we are make, I not compare salon economy with other economies. What you are saying essentially is that every country in the world they go through an economic crisis. The brother always say somebody send for €45. If you ask that your uncle or whosoever send you that €45, ask them almost food items that they go buy. If not fear, ask them almost of in tank. that 45 euro will feel, and you compare when you change to Sierra Leone, also see almost of that fuel they go enter na your tank. I will tell you there is no fundamental difference. Now I make a start off by saying if you use $100, if not truck you use now in America, you use $100 for film. You use that same $100 and change to Leon Naya. I will tell you there is no fundamental difference. So now that make why people that they talk say the economy now America or UK far better than the economy in a salon. I will tell you, you go into the streets of America now and ask people what they think about the economy. They will give you the same maybe pessimistic things what we talk about. We see it all the time on the channels. And not really they try to compare salon economy with other economies. Essentially they say every nation now in the world, whether rich, poor, big, small, we all go through the same economic challenges. On governance, I believe that this is one area where also President Bill does cause significant success. And if you take justice sector, for example, we don't see how under the administration of Justice Desmond Babatunde Edwards, we see how magistrates they sit virtually in every district. We see judges now sitting virtually in every district. We see roving judges they move about. Cases are being heard. Even though it's difficult because they're also not getting the resources. If you look at the fight against corruption, we see say under this administration, we don't score. We met it at around 46%. In the Millennium Challenge Corporation, we don't go over 80%. That rating are not a rating where they come off from me. These are international agencies where they look at we fight against corruption. In terms of rights, in terms of civil liberties, we don't pass down the extraordinarily, in the Millennium Challenge Corporation scorecard. If you look at freedom of expression, when President Biobi promised, say, it will abolish defamatory and seditious libel, many people be think, say, it will do it. I mean, as a politician, it would rather say, make a keep it down there and so that any journalist who mistake will lock up. But even though this president has been perhaps the most castigated, criticized president, even though he suffered from a significant section of the press, but yet still he said, I will perform my duty as a leader. I will check this chain whether they pass up journalists there. I will remove seditious and defamatory libel. He did it as a president because he wants us to all exercise with freedom of speech. He wants to make we all exercise with freedom of expression. So this is a president will mean well. If you really don't want to see your governance landscape improve, you don't go abolish things like defamatory and seditious libel. But it do. We see we don't open the space. Everybody is talking. I understand even with the August 10 incident will happen. President has been making efforts, meeting with critical stakeholders. How do we rebuild? How do we heal the wounds? He has been doing it as a president. So really in terms of governance, me think say under President Bill, this government has achieved more. When APC was here for 10 years, they never considered to abolish the defamatory and seditious libel. But this government do. I think kudos to President Bill for that one day. So in terms of civil liberties, in terms of political liberties, this government very well understands it. Them provisions that they are enshrined in the Constitution. And this government gets the utmost respect for Constitution. But because of the climate, the political climate, again, because since President Bill came, you get a section of the population who still know how to come to terms with the fact that he is president. And let's give him the space to operate. Maybe in that sections of the society they don't see reason so that enough of them degenerate the way it degenerates. So now as Deputy Minister for Information and Communications, but over and above that as a Sierra Leonean, I think I need to take this opportunity to call on everybody to make we all see Sierra Leone bigger than all of us and support this president for make we improve again, in all of the ways where we don't define we as a nation. So in terms of governance really Stanley, no matter what anybody, I expect even the friends at the studio, if we just want to be fair, I think this is one area where we'll give President Bill one of the biggest indices and percentages because this government don't do very well in terms of governance.
So even bigger than education, is it?
Well, a sister don't come up to 35. My brother and the opposition.
No, education at 50. I begin now. Education at 50.
Yeah. 50.
So we are getting there. We don't have to push anybody for making a definitive pronouncement.
Right.
Maybe we need a day or two for reflect and sleep so by the time we recognize,
Mr. Minister, we don't sleep before they come.
All right,
Men are 45 agree per education, 45%.
then we go to
you very critical. You very critical.
all right. So
Maybe you need a day or two for reflect.
all right. So let's go to Sidi Tunis on intake on the improving governance.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I see the brother in the clever attempt for now governance issues to just the repeal of the part 5 of the criminalized law. You know, we all happy about, you know, I will give them kudos for that. But I mean, unfortunately, not only under the governance. And also, we still don't realize about this SLPP government. Every one good thing they do, they will find a way to hide that same thing in another policy where they will do for even limits. When you look at the current INC code of conduct and the policy where they release, you will notice, yes, as much as they focus on professionalism, but I will encourage every journalist to read them properly, you know, because it will guide them also, or keep them out of trouble. Because whereas they don't remove the criminalized law and that aside, a lot of things they will teach them, you know, for minor mistakes that they might make. Now coming to governance, I will say this government, you know, don't do plenty things that will also don't reduce the governance activities as far as democracy is concerned. And when you look at, you know, some of the constitutional breaches, you know, they're great. They don't do a lot of things that we don't narrow the democratic stage, especially for opposition leaders. And when you also look at a human rights record, I mean, it just don't compound the bad governance we see under them. And let me go further. We all know that we get institutions that, for example, we're responsible for strengthening the democracy. You take the PPRC, you take the ETSL and other elections management bodies. You take the judiciary, you take the security sector. They are all the day for ensure the democracy strengthen, we maintain rule of law, and then we improve on governance. All of them institutions they have to, under this administration, we will define and say they have been captured, state captured. And I will begin with PPRC. We all don't see in the past appointments into the PPRC, for example, the head. They don't be mostly retired judges of high repute, high respect. We can clearly show them partisan nature. But today we're seeing appointments made into that office. Somebody will clearly can be a member of the government, member of the party, and you know, we see how they happen. We come to the ECSL, the state, the law clear as to how you make appointments into the ECSL. We clearly say it will be by consultation, not necessarily for agree, but by consultation with all registered political parties, not information. We all know it's not consultation, but we see how, you know, that appointment they happen, and we also see violation clearly, because this person he already appointed as a public servant, and when they receive money from consolidated funds, all of them were ignored. And you know, going further, this now the first party, the opposition and the ruling government, there is no relationship actually there exists between them. To a point that even for carrying bills into parliament, we see the way and manner in which opposition enters. And for the first time, we don't see 3 times police when they go into the well of parliament. You know, they beat members of parliament. They ignore the immunity when members of parliament can carry. then they arrest them, they lock them up to a point some of them, like in the case of Honorable Sharif Kiru, lost their life. We don't see all of Nawandi. And we don't see also how many attempts are made for use the judiciary to legitimize illegality, unconstitutionality. We don't see all of that. Like, for example, the manner in which the proportional representation was introduced. I mean, this is a bill every political party could have easily supported. We're not going to that, but the manner in which it was introduced was unconstitutional, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court, hold around it. And even that, we all know through the law clear that not only Supreme Court judges get the competent authority for discuss constitutional matters, but now in the country, we will see instances wherein for discuss constitutional matters, we will see the courts not even be properly constituted. We will see the Supreme Court, the mixed Supreme Court judges with appeals court judges. And the law not the appeals court judges the authority for decide or discuss on constitutional matters, not only Supreme Court judges. But of course, we all know why they happy, because they feel say maybe we can get this. I will say so many Supreme Court judges, they be able to constitute the full panel. It's not like we lack in judges, then they plenty. They be able to constitute the full panel. But we see, Bande also. And we don't see many times how much opposition has been suppressed. Not so magic. Now by now, only two parties don't go through all of the convention or take part in the elections. All other parties either they court, then they suffer injunction, or then this, or then that, or they don't align themselves with the ruling party. Even we, the opposition, we don't go through the conventions or even hold meetings now. We get for ask for police clearance. At times like this, when our electionary period, and I will talk about the many arrests where people don't go through for statements they will make, way for express and views, mean around this thing, and we go lock us 2 days, 3 days, and 2 weeks. The minister will talk about corruption. I mean, when it comes to the fight against corruption, I always say, as a country, we will be very serious and we will be sincere. The previous administration did a lot. Now then, even give the anti-corruption prosecutorial powers. When President Anastasia kind of power, not only 7 areas corruption with the loop, APC with the loop, they increase them to 12. And they give them prosecutorial power where they not be need for consult with the Attorney General before they prosecute. And we all see President Anastasia in corruption fight, they focus on the administration. They not go after the opposition will be did before the JUNCTION administration. No. They focus on EU administration. And also, they talk always about the MCC. But waiting on the field for service country now that the APC government, now we are the first government we begin for score high marks for MCC for fight against corruption, civil liberty and other areas. And that make with all the scores we then the themselves. Now we are the only administration we don't ever receive money from MCC. This administration don't be 5 years when they give their first scores every year. But they know why they receive the dime, because we know their scores and they receive now based on the fight we fight. If you look the first 3 years of the administration, the scores were higher. If you look at the last 2 years now, then same scores when they don't begin reduce. Because I also say under Ahmed Tijanko, JFK, Adi Macaulay, a lot of things were introduced will really make the fight against corruption prominent. The pay no bribe campaign, the declaration of assets by public servants, including ministers and other members of government, all of them things when they, really increase the fight against corruption. You come to audit service. The previous government gave the Auditor General so much power for ensuring we improve transparency and accountability to a point that audit service not be need for lay the report na parliament first before they publish. As they done the report, the Auditor General will publish and straight my website before they go lay on a parliament, which is not the case now. This government promised me transparency and accountability, but today, because the Auditor General will report in his report on misappropriation, what do they do? They sack him abruptly, and now the new Auditor General will tell you, say, you cannot audit the office of the President, the office of the Vice President, and the office of the First Lady because they don't meet the threshold. Since when we don't get threshold in the spending of our public funds? And also,
yes,
we look at the human rights record.
Tunis now for land we now safely on a grading for improving governance for this government in 5 years.
I mean, yes, you look at the human rights record, the Pademba Road massacre, the massacre on August 10th, the Tonko Limba killings, the killings in Makeni, the killings in Togo, all of these, don't put me at the worst human rights track. When you look at the suppression of opposition, the narrowing of space for the democracy, even the repeal of the death penalty, they repeal the death penalty, but then it involves in extrajudicial killings. I will say for human rights, for good governance, I will say I will give them 28%. Because good governance encompasses human rights, democracy, the rule of law, and also the right to basic things, the right to health, right to quality energy, right to water, right to justice, and all of these things, they will still get limitations as a country under this administration.
All right, let account to me panelists in 1 minute because we get one last topic we'll deal with for end the program today. So Emilia, you don't hear improving governance, you don't hear waiting government saying I don't do. You also don't hear waiting the opposition saying I government no do. When I take in 1 minute.
One of the things where me they commend the government for now, the fact say when it come into putting policies in place, the write-ups and those kind of things. Trust me, this government don't try. And when Minister Jamiru be they mention some of the laws them, he not mention the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act. I think say for we as gender campaigners, then one of the things that now the way we don't see over the years. Yes, people they way don't do analysis where they say it gets in loopholes them. We still get challenges with that particular law there, but one for I refer to the law as a progressive one and as one way and a stepping stone. At least for whatever reason, we now have something we can make reference to, that we have the Jury Act where they in place, even where elections then they go on now for different symbols and award of positions them where they make reference to then laws then they. So when it comes to that one, I think say the governments don't really they try for ensure say them put then things then they in place. The thing with me I not go ever change me figure on and change me statistics on the economy, the kind way where people they go and when people then they.
So what now is great for
like education, I think say I give them
the one on governance.
Yeah, like education, I give 50.
All right, you give 50.
Yeah, sure.
All right, UPK?
And I give them 30%. Why 30%? That's so fair because they give large subvention. Now the first government in living memory will give large subvention and then give them the rest. And I don't know if they give them this past month. Then why I give them that 30%? When you look at state capture, almost every institution that this country now has been captured by the executive. Harassment of opposition leaders, expulsion of the 10 MPs. Okay, I want to commend them because they repeal the Public Order Act, where they bring then the fight against corruption. You see, And what we for stop na do for do na this country, whether APC, SLPP. APC tell them get a party guy at the Macaulay, now be the commissioner for ACC. You think he could go after him party members? This other chap, Kefala, is more of a party person. They tell you how many awards in the bag that yeah. So every day he gets award from all kind fishy institutions. The MCC, you know, SLPP or this government President Bill, because this is about it's not SLPP, it's about President Bill 5 years. When you look at, they always don't win the MCC, but they fail. Then the bill of the death penalty, they don't replace it with extra. Tribalism is high now than at any time in the history of our country. Now they don't succeed for divide this country between bad citizens and good citizens. Other than bad citizen, if it tap na Bo, if na McKinney, if it tap na Freetown, if it tap na Lumsar, August 10. No, August 10. No, August 10. The Pandemba Road Generator Saga, Tombo, Lumsar. These are bad citizens and did it, so they can be killed willy-nilly. Government will not say anything. The good citizens are the ones who live in Bo and other country. And they sludge race. For me, that make a this government.
Right. You don't know
You
know, something that we are not happy about. I see a video of His Excellency the President where he mobilize votes in a particular language. Even if the camera person go to you, ask you the question. Not to wait the question you ask you matter and you respond. And to me, that was terrible. It not be really fine. If you don't use other language where most of you don't understand.
The lingua franca Creole, it's
you understand? So to me, that one is very, very unfortunate. And we will talk about jobs that will get tenure. You know, jobs that will get tenure, they're guided by procedures and laws. If somebody they lost that job, let it be very, very clear. Absolutely. You know, let it be so clear. And you begin to talk about appointments. They talk about the one with the head, the ACC. But yeah, I mean, now people are also supposed for trust say then go they just for serve the purpose for which the books they say. Unlike overtly party person, because like it's really bad off. You understand? I mean, you know, I get soft spot for woman then. Soft spot for woman then. With 30%, I don't read the one the electoral commission say if there's a nomination, we then according to the mathematics, you not follow through the 30%, then they reject them.
On Presidency?
Yes, then they reject them. So for me,
what's that if you man know?
Sorry, not possible. So SAB in the
opposition position at 3 also inside Makeni City. 3.
Some they argue say the opposition confrontational. They need to allow for dialogue. But let me be honest now. Once you're in governance, the buck stop on you for reaching out. Reach out to the extent, make the way retire for reach out. Say, I don't tell you, now you no agree for Kanamo now. But if you do reasonable effort. So for me, governance, it's very challenging.
All right, thank you.
I owe this to the SLU. I owe this to the people. No, they are owe this. Before I forget, you see, when Darami they talk about secure tenor, what think people know they talk? When me say no, most of the guys they will get secure tenor and sack. You know, they just pull them. Then they give them the salary. They give them the benefit. They just yeah, they say no more. No, you know they work with you, but they additional strain on the yes. When a burden on the but they have his salary. So then they think I go
we will take the last bites into this edition of the program, and we will look at improving infrastructure. Next week we will look at the other one then. So, Mr. Minister, talk me through how much these governments don't achieve in the improving infrastructure, where you talk about energy, transport, road transportation, air transportation, sea transportation, railway, and access to water supply and improve sanitation, improving land and housing, country planning, improving environmental management.
That's Stanley, thank you. As much as I really love for going to all of that, but one, the time as I say, as I talk to una, so now they just don't call me back to do the presentation. So I will just say a few words, and maybe una will allow me for get back.
All right.
One on the issue about the president bill and the camera posting, and maybe it talk on in the local language. Maybe we all need to apologize, because even myself, when I go Tendemgu, Usami Daddy and my mama Komo. So by the way, I was born in Makini when my father was provincial secretary there. So, but each time I go Tendemgu, even what we call basic things like family meeting. Stanley, when would they talk to one? If you not talk small, if you not talk Mende, some man will feel like, Opoto. It's just so
Agree.
So you make that
Even
conscious
yourself get a
effort.
problem there.
And it's like if you don't talk that language, you don't connect to them or something. So really, I'm not saying President Bill do one because he wants for Korean favor for vote. He may have done it equally if he did talk something about healthcare or something. Go talk to them about different things. And I don't think that he talk really because he wants for Korean favor. Even in communication, there are people who tell us, hey, wait, the going there, you get for, talk small, but they get somebody where they talk the language for good to come. Yeah, so that's why really I want us to understand and forgive him for that. On state capture, I think we all get for recognize really with democracy, they evolve, it grow. Some countries, they know we talk about democracy, it's over 100 years. So a lot of challenges they will still get. But I will assure when I say the president who will get President Julius Maada Bio, that person will respect the constitution and they want to give every institution we set up by act of parliament for develop independently. And me think, like for example, when the brother Sidi talk about Supreme Court judges, if the Supreme Court is not properly constituted, in law, you can take what you call a jurisdictional objection. You can raise an objection, say, we not think that the Supreme Court for Yeri or Sidon on this matter because it is not properly constituted. And those are issues where if you really feel strongly that it's not, you can do. But maybe the Chief Justice also can give you certain reasons why. Because if it's from the very start for practice as a lawyer, you will see them pull this judge from this particular layer, bring another this layer. Sometimes for administrative efficiency, you also therefore bear that in mind. Secondly, on the accusation, so maybe the parliamentary leadership now, the SLPP leadership now, parliament may not be reaching out, or the executive may not be reaching out to the opposition. I don't think that's true. We believe the President Bill has made many efforts. If man wants to lead on with his words, for example, then all of a sudden you find out say they don't tie Jim, and so they don't tie him with rope or a padlock him, where the game not go play. So I think that really we maybe we have to speak to both sides for intensify that engagement. I see in the report where Emmanuel Safa Abdullah in committee bring out, I think that one of the recommendations that, governing parties also continue to engage opposition parties. I hope that perhaps this will trigger some debate around this, and I think we all need to do more and also for talk to with people. On the MCC, if the head of MCC meets with President Bill about a month or two ago and express some satisfaction in the progress with Salon don't make and how they will support Salon for access the money, I think it speaks to the fact that this government really don't demonstrate commitment in the fight against corruption. On audit, the Deputy Auditor General was on 98.1 2 days ago, and he confirms that all the recommendations where the audit service become with respect to the audit on the presidency or vice presidency, and they don't confirm that all of those recommendations have been applied. So they have no fundamental issue as it is really on audit. On infrastructure, infrastructure is a very broad thing. We get a lot of areas to look at. But one of the things I just want to talk about standing on electricity. It's been a challenge, but as challenging as it has been, electricity was about 14% where this government can access all over the country. It is now about 35%. In further number, then in about 4.5 years. So we think that really there is work in progress. We still get transmission challenges, whether it's in Freetown or in other places, because the population really don't explode. And I believe the government will continue to do more to make sure people can access electricity. But in just 4 to 5 years, we have moved access to electricity from about 14% to about 35% of the population. So we'll continue to do more. Governments they make frantic efforts to do more of the roads. We see how fast we push the the bypass road now Eastern. We see what they do now for connect Kabbalah to Masudu Road. I remember when they do campaign for President Bill for the 2018 election. For Komo Kabbalah, I think we left about 4 p.m. We reached about 4:30 a.m. at Masudu. You know, that they tell you how dangerous and how terrible the road was. Now that road is a priority. We see the airport, the airport, the new airport. It's a brand new airport with a brand new runway, a brand new terminal. And I think everybody they commend this government for this airport. You know, so governments really they do well. You know, they do more. We are not there yet in terms of infrastructure. Water, we still get challenges in water, but given the challenges, the Ministry for Water Resources also they do the best they can under the circumstances, and I believe they will continue for change the narrative in that sector. So from roads and bridges to electricity, from airports, I think this government continue for the score progress. The government continue for achieve successes in the area of infrastructure. I think we still get challenges in some areas, but we'll continue for the address them as we go along. One of the things we are not be talking about is food security. And I think in just one sentence, I want to assure we family them, and McKinney and all over the country, President Biodon dedicates in second term to food security, and the African Development Bank already don't assure them, say they will support that as the biggest program in the second term of his presidency. So we are not there yet. In all of the pledges of President Biodon, but this government don't score significant successes, and we really don't see say President Bill mean every word where he say. And once we get the opportunity, we will complete what it don't start.
All right, thank you, Minister Jamiru. We hope to get you next week for continue on the 5 years of President Julius Maada Bio. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Stanley, and it's been a privilege to also be on the program with my friends and colleagues. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so now go to you, Sidi, Tunis. You know, Solomon Jamiru don't talk on the infrastructure. We're waiting the opposition all with regards that particular sector. You know, where you talk about the government in performance and that sector in 5 years.
Thank you, Stanley. I want to let people know say if anything they will not forsake on this government anymore, I promise. So Jamiru to talk about food security for the second time. No, not talk around you because I've been part of the promises. We all remember. I know that in fact, appointment going to be based on everybody forget farm care. Now the chief can go out appointment. The summer improvement, we must see no sale. Well, I can't say infrastructure. If any time the government perform the work in infrastructure, simply because the previous administration they don't do so much in terms of infrastructure that they address the roads. We don't need to connect this country. It's very good for connect this country with the neighbors then, Sidi and Nigeria, that we make the major highways. We need to connect in the internal district then. On any side, now this country and come back the same way. Now, we talk about energy. What did they say? They increase energy from 16% to 33%. When you look at that, maybe it is not true. The same capacity we building as we get, now it still get. The same capacity we inform we get, now it still get. The same capacity we car power we get, now it still car power will reduce the capacity because they owe them so much money. We started and we made plenty noise at the warehouse electrification program where the previous administration did start. We will provide energy on all the chiefdoms there, and if they don't connect 64 chiefdoms, the balance with the do either increase energy. And that means if you find out now, income capacity will increase. The transmission will increase, but generation will reduce. And that means if you find out
I think we still go try forget Sidi Tunis for a wrap up on that one day. A key for a wrap up on that one day. We will get on the platform for conclude because we get the minister being get the opportunity for able conclude on the in submission, and I think we also will try. Okay, I think all right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
now that make the final say when they give light in the trip. But quite apart from that, what them I do when they come in 2017, 2018, they tell me say the tariff for energy is high. We been pay at that time 19 cents. Then go negotiate with car power for 16.4 cents for kilowatt hour. Now what do they do? Even where they reduce from 19 cents to 16.4 cents, but when they come to we the citizens, they increase the tariff per week from 560 loans, we will be the pay under APC, to 1,400 loans. So now that makes you find out, say, for energy, if you pay 100,000 now, you only get about 36 units. We trade it give you about 60 something units. So it tells you, how much this government they, and with that, they not even increase electricity generation. In terms of this new extension where they're doing at the airport, you didn't see sometimes when you do infrastructural development, you get a look at value for money. There was my mama for not able to get new airport, new terminals, new infrastructure around for less than 400 million. Now we get one terminal for 270 million. If they talk about brand new runway, no, we never get brand new runway. Then expand the existing runway. And this new terminal, we don't get so, now me and you get for pay for the next 25 years. And this new terminal, if you look at the facilities them inside there, like the business lounge, for example, this 21st century, one toilet for man, one toilet for woman. Yes, we don't get new building, but it costs me a whole lot of money. In other countries, I will challenge you, say, that particular building will even cost me $60 million. But now it don't cost this country with whole airport for the next 25 years. Salon as a country, we get airport facility, but we don't get anything as far as the ownership and management of that airport for the next 25 years. Everything they have liberty with the Suma Group. Now them get time for the next 25 years until them pull the money down before Salon government will get any say in there again. So now that means even when we still call our Lungi International Airport, when you go there, then they call our Suma Airport because that is the deal. Now don't get time for the next 25 years. And it's still not able to address it, waiting at the need for us to get a mainland airport, when for ease transportation from the airport to the city. We still struggle with crossing. You still spend a lot of money for cross from Freetown to Lungi, and you spend many hours and hassle for cross, wasting an impediment for tourism and even an inflow of visitors. In terms of road infrastructure, it will surprise you for no say by now, if it was under this APC administration, this country, all the roads that don't connect. But inside we even left the roads, then people are still not able to complete any single one of them up to now. Until recently, we might have complete the manage for, those small, the bypass road and Blackpool road, the Kaila road, they still not doing it, the Mwamba road, they still not doing it. And it is happening thing is the deception. Very recently, when I already, about 2 weeks ago, they say they take a bill in parliament for the Matthew John Bow Road. Say they don't get money for the Matthew John Bow Road. But if we all remember, in January 2019, His Excellency the President launched that road. Then care machine then go there, then care the contractor go there, first striker, they say the government they can't make the road now from Bo to Matthew. So 2 years later, now they can't tell we say they don't get money for make the road because the city will get into election, they want for camouflage the people of this country again, for give them a second time, so that they make all of these promises. They don't add anything on the infrastructure. With energy, problems don't increase. I mean, we'll not be used to blackout again, to be honest, especially in Freetown, many parts. If we get blackout, the energy minister late Henry Macaulay, Megondi, and Google can immediately and tell me, say, will they get black out so type for so reason. But now, blackout don't become the order of the day. Of course, water problems don't become compounded, not only in Freetown, in so many other parts where APC don't care pipeline water go, including the whole district Puja. Those are we don't begin to enjoy pipeline water, that one they don't seize under this administration. So in terms of infrastructure, really, I will give that at 10%.
All right, we will continue with the other segments, God willing, next week, for get conclusion on President Bio in 5 years. We hope for get you back and Solomon Jamiru for conclude on the other unfinished issues then, and probably we'll go look at the just released CIC report on the August 10 inside we edition next week. Thank you so very much, Sidi Tunis, for your input. I will get we parting statements now from my panelists. Then, Sidi.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you to all the other panelists. Ramadan Mubarak.
All right, thank you. Emilia, 1 minute on a parting statement.
Okay. Unfortunately, okay. City Sep don't go up the line. We just want to say thanks to we two panelists them where we get today. We get them from both the government and the opposition for honor we invitation and come we chat the way forward. Apart from that, I just want to say blessed Ramadan to all we brothers and sisters, especially now that we become very, very close to the pre-day. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. You pick it?
Well, I want to wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid. And for we today na Sunday.
Divine Mercy Sunday.
Okay, today I no go church step, so today na Divine Mercy.
Very special Sunday.
Okay, so that the suffering they continue like we all bear, and luckily we get an opportunity for make decision June 24, 2023. I wish every Sierra Leonean well.
Yeah, me just want for you see the guy who get today as guests. I know good for SAB. I just want for continue for this. We need people with their temperament there. They may disagree, but they also know say a lot of people and they will take them as role models. So therefore, they listen to them. I impressed with the way they condone say, "Mami Jango, that you talk about the pray they come." No news, not always written. I'm yes past that one day. Wouldn't they begin to talk about pray? Because I just want for it during the day. Assalamu alaikum, people.
All right, I think now all this we go get them for inside this edition of the program Media Junction. We come away through the means way we get we on the radio, even day na Kabbalah and on Shalom Radio na Falaba, Katbami na Madina, Colenten na Cambia, Ad na Putloko, Kunikina Makali, Numbara na Bombo na Kentu na Kamakwe, and OPFM na Makini. Well, so till next week we'll return with the fresh edition. I want to say, no worry, just be happy. And if you miss some parts of the program, don't forget to tune in tonight at 8 to 10, 5 to 7 tomorrow morning, and we midweek edition will return on Wednesday from 10 to 12 midnight. Me, we've been there before the program today. My name is Stanley Bangoa Jr. Thanks to we guest them, Solomon Jamiru Esquire, Deputy Minister of Information and Communication, and of course, Sidi Tunis, the public relations person for the Opposition All People's Congress APC. Emilia Kama Jengo for the women there and human rights in there today. Unisa Party Kama political and social community. I'm the Army Civil Society person. Till then, I want to say, no worry, bye bye. Have a pleasant Sunday.
I not be one to come.